What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to mount a TV on the wall and hide all the wires by adding an additional outlet behind the TV. After moving my daughter's volleyball gear out of the way, I assessed the exterior wall where I wanted this TV mounted. Before I drilled a single hole, I spent some time planning the layout. The first decision was where the TV was going to live. In this room, the obvious choice was centering it between these two windows. I have this old cable box with an outlet on either side of it, and that's going to be key to getting power up into the wall and behind this TV. I used a pry bar and some pliers to gently remove the box, and this was challenging because there are two large nails that it needed to be worked out. I took my time but still managed to damage the drywall. Oh well, turns out I'm actually going to have plenty of patch and paint work to do when this project is done. Now for the part that really makes this install look professional, adding an outlet directly behind the TV to hide all the wires. First, let me say this, if you're not comfortable working with electrical, there's no shame in calling an electrician, but if you follow code and take your time, this is a very doable project. I started by shutting off the breaker to a nearby outlet that I plan to pull the power from, and I always double check with a voltage tester before touching anything. I use a stud finder to map out the structure of the wall and mark the studs with green tape, and then I cut a couple of holes in the bays between the studs. Had the outlet been closer, I could have avoided this, but there was no way to feed the wire up to the TV location. With the drywall removed, I use a 1/2-inch drill bit to bore holes through the studs, and this creates a tunnel for the new electrical wire. In my case here, there were several studs, so I used an extension on my bit, and I even wrapped the connection points with tape to avoid losing the bit inside the wall. I'm using 12-2 Romex for this project because the circuit is protected by a 20-amp breaker. Matching the wire size to the breaker is important for safety and code compliance, so be sure to use the correct wire for the breaker. I only need about 10 feet of wire here, but I'm using all 15 feet of this roll and will trim the excess later. I just find this to be less stressful than trying to measure the correct amount. The wire is really rigid, so sometimes it gets stuck snaking its way through the holes, so it can be helpful to both pull and push the wire at the same time using both of your hands. For now, I'm pulling the wire through the old cable box hole, and I'll revisit it in a couple of minutes. Since this is an exterior wall, there's a plastic vapor barrier between the back of the drywall and the front of the insulation. When I cut the drywall holes, I cut right through that barrier, so after the wire was run, I used some foil HVAC tape to seal that back up. I'm trying not to disrupt the insulation too much here, so I did my best to keep things the way they were before I punctured those holes. There's a ton of really good how-to drywall videos out there, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this part, but to patch the drywall, I used a small block of wood attached to the wall as a backer, and then the same piece that I cut gets reinstalled and screwed to that wooden block. I just use a couple of drywall screws to do this, and I'm careful not to put any screws near the wire if I can avoid it. I use some drywall mud to fill the seams, and then a couple of pieces of fiber-fused tape to stop these from cracking in the future. Again, I'm not going to go through too much detail here because I'm a pretty lousy drywaller and there's some really good content on there on how to do this well. I'll come back later with a couple of more coats and sand this smooth and then touch it up with paint, but that's a video for a different day. Now I'm coming back to where the TV is going to be mounted, and I come straight up from that old cable box and use that location for my new future outlet box. I traced the box and then cut out the drywall in the same way as I did before. I used a 6-foot wire pulling rod and fed it through the hole I just cut down to the old cable box hole. I was sure to do this over the insulation but under the vapor barrier. From there I attached it to the new wire using some tape, and ideally I would have done this with electrical tape, but my green painter's tape was handy, so I went with it. This made it really easy to pull the rod back up out of the new outlet hole, bringing the new wire along with it. With the new wire now fed from the old outlet to the new outlet, I could put the cable box back together, and to do this, I got what's called an old construction outlet box. Instead of attaching to the studs with nails, it has two wings that flip out and draw it tight to the drywall. This way you can install it securely without needing to access the structures behind the wall. I then installed another old work box where the new outlet is going to go, and I started to install the new outlet when out of nowhere my camera died. Seriously, this is kind of amateur hour, but I missed filming this step because my iCloud storage was full. But basically you attach the black hot wire to the brass screw, the white neutral wire to the silver screw, and the copper ground wire to the green screw. Let me try to show you that in a little more detail here on the old outlet where I'm pulling the power from. This outlet is part of a circuit, which means that it's connected to several other outlets on the same wire from the breaker box. I can draw power from it by creating a branch, and to do this, I completely disconnect the wires from the existing outlet, and then I connect the 3 like wires together, plus a short piece called a pigtail. The pigtail attaches to the existing outlet, and the other 3 wires are connected through this WAGO terminal. You can use a traditional wire nut for this as well, but I've been using these for a couple of weeks and I really like them. They're easy to use and relatively cheap, plus they come in a bunch of different sizes and work on all different types of wire. With this 5-terminal WAGO, I can connect the 2 wires from the existing circuit, the wire from the branch, and the pigtail for the existing outlet. After you do the exact same thing to the black and the ground wires, power now runs through the original circuit and through the branch to your new outlet. I used some electrical tape to hold the WAGO terminals closed and then put all of the wiring in the original outlet back into the box and reattach the faceplate. Now that the electrical work is finished, I can shift my focus and start work to hang the actual TV. Mounting brackets for TVs come in all sorts of shapes and sizes with articulating arms and a variety of viewing options. This is a pretty basic bracket that tilts just slightly up or down and can have a small angle to the right or the left, and then other than that, it's pretty flat to the wall. After unboxing the bracket, I measured the distance between the windows and found the center point and marked it on the wall. Next, I thought about TV height, and this is important. Normally, the center of your TV should be roughly at eye level when you're seated, which usually puts the center of the screen somewhere around 40 to 42 inches off the floor. This depends on where your couch is and the TV size, but I want mine to be a little bit higher than that since there's nothing else on this wall. I thought I had this dialed in, but as you'll see later, I ended up mounting it a bit too high the first time. Once the layout was marked, I found the studs, and this is critical because you don't want to rely on drywall anchors for a TV mount. Even newer TVs that are lighter weight like this one will loosen those anchors over time, so be sure to find your studs. With the stud locations marked, I held the mounting bracket up on the wall and centered it on my layout line. I then made sure it was perfectly level, and then I drilled pilot holes into the studs and secured the bracket using lag bolts. These lag bolts go directly into the framing and are what actually carries the weight of the TV. Once everything was tightened down, I gave the mount a good tug just to make sure that it was rock solid and no movement at all, which is exactly what you want. Okay, now with the bracket mounted and the outlet installed, it was finally time to hang the TV. This is a 70-inch Samsung and it's relatively entry level according to the salesman at Best Buy. I'm not the world's biggest movie or sports buff, and this is really just something for my daughter and her friends to watch during sleepovers or the occasional family movie night. Most of the time it'll be covered and shielded from volleyballs, so I didn't go all out with this purchase, but maybe in the future I'll get something nicer and add some surround sound speakers, but for now this will do just fine. The bracket comes with hardware for nearly any TV, so I've found the screws that fit my unit and used them to attach the mounting arms to the back of the TV. As you can see, there are several holes, so the height can be adjusted without moving the bracket that I just installed on the wall. And this comes in handy in a minute. I installed the mounting arms with a Phillips head screwdriver and the 4 screws provided, being sure to not over tighten them too much. You can see here how the arms do have some articulation, so adjustments are possible once it's hung. This TV is big, but it's actually pretty light, so I was able to lift it in place myself, and even though it looks like I'm struggling here quite a bit, it took me a minute to have the confidence that those mounting arms were hanging on the bracket correctly, and in hindsight, this probably should have been a 2-person job. Looking back on this on camera, it looks really bad, but in reality, it was pretty light and just kind of large and awkward, but I finally got it wrestled into place. Once I got it hung, it was pretty easy to tell that this was going to be too high. It's always hard to tell exactly how something like this is going to look, especially in a large room, but thankfully adjusting the mounting arms was really easy. Once I was able to get it rehung, the difference was immediate. The TV felt more comfortable to watch and the whole setup just looked right. Hopefully this video gives you some confidence to tackle a project like this yourself, or at least understand what goes into it. It would be really expensive to hire an electrician or a handyman to come out and do this work, so maybe this helps you save some money. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more DIY projects like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.